Scrolling can make 10 minutes incredibly interesting news, comedy, drama, discovery. So why does the hour afterward often feel so dull? You close the feed and return to a book, a meal, or a conversation. There's nothing wrong with any of them. But they move slower, ask more from you, and don't replace themselves the moment your attention dips. The feed delivers interest instantly. Real life often becomes interesting only after you participate. In this video, we'll break down 4 reality gaps that explain why scrolling can make ordinary life feel less engaging. Then we'll try a simple re-entry experiment that can help your attention settle again without treating your phone like the enemy. Because the real cost of scrolling may not be the time it takes. It may be what happens to the time that comes after. Have you ever scrolled for 20 minutes and somehow felt less entertained than when you started? You saw a recipe, half a comedy clip, an airport reunion, and a dog wearing sunglasses. Some of it was genuinely fun. Yet when you put the phone down, almost nothing stayed with you. Each time a video slowed down, your thumb found a faster one. You escaped boredom, but you also left before curiosity could become immersion. That's the first reality gap, the immersion gap. Real experiences often need time to pull you in. A book may need 5 pages. A conversation may need a few quiet minutes. Even a favorite song needs time to reach the part that gives you chills. The feed removes that waiting by offering a new beginning whenever the current moment loses momentum. Across 7 experiments involving more than 1,200 people, researcher Katie Tam and her team found something surprising. People thought switching between videos or fast-forwarding through them would make them less bored. But it often did the opposite. They felt more bored, less satisfied, less focused, and less engaged. One reason may be that constant switching keeps your attention in evaluation mode. You're no longer asking, "What's happening here?" You're asking, "Could the next thing be better?" Nothing gets enough time to land, while every moment is competing with an invisible next option. Try noticing that question the next time your thumb moves. Are you leaving because the video is bad, or because it hasn't rewarded you quickly enough? But what happens when the screen goes dark and your attention keeps reaching for whatever comes next? It's 12:32 p.m. Lunch break is over. You place your phone face down and open the email you need to finish. You read the first sentence, get to the third, then realize none of it registered. So you start again. Your hands are back at work, but your attention still feels restless, almost as if it's waiting for the email to turn into something else. That's the second reality gap, the transition gap. Closing an app happens instantly. Your attention usually takes longer to catch up. In a small 2025 study, Matthew Barton and Stephanie Smythe looked at what happened after people watched short-form videos under different conditions. Then they tested prospective memory, the ability to remember something you planned to do later. People who could switch videos freely did worse on that task than those whose switching was limited. The study included only 45 people, so we shouldn't read too much into it. Still, it points to a useful possibility. The way we leave the feed may affect how smoothly we move into the next task. A concept from psychologist Sophie Leroy may help explain why. She calls it attention residue. When we switch activities, part of our attention can stay stuck on what we were just doing. We talk a lot about screen time, but not enough about handoff time, the brief moment when the screen is gone, but your mind hasn't fully settled. Try noticing the first 30 seconds after your next scroll. Is the new task truly boring, or is part of your attention still expecting another swipe? Eventually, that restless rhythm fades. But even after attention settles, real life is still at a disadvantage. It has to unfold in real time. Real life is a terrible video editor. Laundry refuses to become a 12-second transformation montage, and no inspiring soundtrack starts when you open your tax software. Online, an 8-hour road trip becomes 20 seconds. A 6-month renovation becomes one dramatic reveal. 2 years of training becomes a single before and after swipe. The feed gives us the payoff without most of the waiting, repetition, or uncertainty that created it. Real life unfolds. The feed arrives pre-compressed. That's the pace gap. Then we return to ordinary time. Traffic lights won't skip ahead. Packages still take days to arrive. Cleaning the garage includes a long middle section where the garage somehow looks worse. Psychologists call this hedonic contrast. What you're experiencing now can feel better or worse depending on what came right before it. After a fast stream of novelty and polished payoffs, an ordinary moment may feel flatter by comparison. This research wasn't specifically about social media, so it doesn't mean one reel will suddenly make the grocery line unbearable. But it gives us a useful way to think about the problem. We don't judge an experience in isolation. We compare it with what we just experienced. After a rapid stream of novelty and polished payoffs, an ordinary moment may feel flatter by comparison. That research wasn't designed specifically around social media, so it can't tell us that one reel makes a grocery line unbearable, but it offers a useful lens. We rarely judge an experience in isolation. We judge it against its recent context. Scrolling may do more than fill our time. It can also change the pace your attention expects once you put the phone down. So when reality feels painfully slow, try asking, is this moment actually boring or is it simply unedited? Real life contains pauses, repetition, and unfinished moments because that's where experiences are being built. But slower time isn't the final problem. Real life also asks us to bring something the feed usually supplies for us. Maybe life isn't failing to interest you. Maybe the feed has been doing too much of the work of keeping you interested. It's 8:30 p.m. and an hour of free time finally opens up. There's a basketball in the driveway, a dusty camera on the shelf, and a half-finished puzzle on the table. Any one of them could be fun, but none of them feels interesting enough to begin. So you open your phone while waiting for a better idea, and the phone immediately supplies one. That's the fourth reality gap, the participation gap. The feed chooses the subject, frames the question, removes the slow parts, and delivers a payoff. Your only job is to keep watching. Real life offers something less convenient, raw material. A basketball becomes interesting after the first few shots. Photography becomes interesting when you start looking for light. A puzzle creates curiosity once two pieces finally connect. Psychologists Erin Westgate and Timothy Wilson suggest that boredom isn't always caused by too little stimulation. It can also show up when we can't engage our attention or when what we're doing doesn't feel meaningful. In other words, more stimulation won't always solve boredom. Sometimes attention needs a reason to get involved. Interest may work less like a delivery and more like a campfire. Real life gives us the wood, but we still have to create the first spark. Try looking around and choosing one ordinary thing. Instead of asking, is this interesting? Ask, what could I discover if I stayed with it for 10 minutes? The feed delivers interest instantly. Real life often asks us to help create it. So, the answer isn't making reality faster or louder. It's learning how to re-enter it. And that begins with a simple 3-step experiment. First, end the feed on purpose. Choose one final video, finish it, and close the app before your thumb automatically searches for another. Second, give your attention a landing zone. Spend 60 seconds without adding new input. Stand up, get some water, or simply look around the room. 60 seconds isn't a magical neurological reset. It's just a cleaner handoff between two different kinds of attention. Third, step back into real life before you decide it's boring. Give your next activity 10 uninterrupted minutes and take one small action that moves you from observing to participating. The goal isn't to feel fascinated immediately. The goal is to stay long enough for interest to begin. Real life hasn't lost its value. The feed simply plays by different rules. It switches faster, removes the uneventful middle, and decides what deserves your attention next. When those rules follow us off the screen, reality can feel slow, flat, and strangely demanding. But reality was never designed to compete with edited time. Some of life's best moments aren't interesting right away. They become interesting once we step into them and start participating. Try the reality re-entry experiment once today. Then ask yourself one question. What ordinary part of life would I like to enjoy again? Share your answer in the comments. And if you want more calm, science-based ways to work with your brain, subscribe to Simple Brain Habits. I'll see you in the next one.